For thousands of years, Indigenous Australians lived off the land. They built up a unique understanding of the plants that surrounded them. Tonight, we're going to explore this understanding as we celebrate the wonderful world of bush tucker. Tonight on the Odyssey, a magnificent garden, thousands of years in the making.
Well, to the Gadigal people, this was such an important place. It was paradise.
A bush tucker grove for a special group of kids. One of the hazards of working with mulch is that sometimes it can get in your beard. And building the arteries of our backyard revolution. Sounds like it needs oil. There's something about walking through a botanic gardens where the senses are feasting upon the smells, the sounds, the colours, the textures of all the different plants and how they come together, the trunks, the trees, the branches, to form a symphony, a structure, an enchanted world that takes you away and allows you to forget about whatever's on your mind. This is the Royal Botanic Gardens in Sydney. In my opinion, one of the finest gardens in the country. I mean, have a look at it. What you might not know is that this 30-hectare garden with over 45,000 plants has actually been a communal space for thousands of years. You see, before 1788, the local Caddy people also used this land as a sort of celebrated community garden.
Well, to the Gadigal people, this was such an important place, you know, with ceremony, socialising, basically with food abundance. It was paradise.
Before the British invasion, this was a wild but plentiful landscape that became an important communal space, not just for the Caddy, but for many tribes in the area.
It was a place of ceremony, so a lot of tribes from out of this area would come into this special place for trade, and food was something that always brought people together.
But then, when the settlers arrived and tried to grow their own food here, they came across difficulties they hadn't faced before.
The soil was too sandy, and the European seeds found it hard to grow out of that soil.
So they were planting their seeds in what they thought was summer?
Yeah.
And it was winter?
Yeah.
And what was the consequence of all that?
Well, it would lead into starvation or even death.
The Botanic Gardens have carefully recreated these farming beds that were initially established by the first settlers when they arrived. Side by side with this, they have this replica of the indigenous flora that healthily sustained the local Caddy people for thousands of years.
Well, welcome to the Aboriginal supermarket. You'll see there's an abundance of warrigal greens. This stuff here.
Oh, yeah?
It's just like spinach. With the early settlers, this is how one way they survived.
How do they prepare it?
Well, all you do is just boil it in water, not too long, otherwise it'll get mushy.
But that's critical, isn't it?
Yeah.
You cannot eat this straight.
Oh, no, no.
Because it's poisonous?
You can have an allergic reaction to it.
The Caddy had a unique understanding of the landscape, using horticultural signals as their seasonal calendar, like the onset of a flower on a waratah signalling the beginning of the growing period, a flowering gossamer wattle, a sign the fish have started to run, the hot season ending with the arrival of the sour lily-pilly berry. What's this one, Liam?
This is lemon myrtle. So this is used commercially today with the local Aboriginal people because they live right next to the ocean. They would put fish in the paper bark, get a few of these leaves as a flavouring, wrap it in the paper bark, and then they would cook it on the hot coals. So all those flavours would lock into the fish, and then voila.
The bush tucker section of this garden is just incredible, and I urge you all to come down and walk around and experience this magical place. Later in the show, I'll be examining what a modern botanical garden looks like. But first, inspired by the Indigenous gardens here... Do you know what we're going to do today?
What?
We're going to build a bush tucker garden.
Yeah!
Hi, Costa. How are you going?
I'm good, Joy. How are you?
Oh, terrific, terrific. So excited about having you at school today.
Fantastic. I'm ready to go.
Great. We've been waiting for ages and ages to put in the garden. The kids are excited. We're ready to go. Are you?
Let's do it.
Yes, let's.
This is Alexandria Park Community School in inner Sydney, a green oasis smack in the middle of the industrial sprawl. With a large Indigenous student base, they've asked me to help build a bush tucker garden to be used as part of the curriculum. This spot here seemed perfect for our garden. We've got an existing tree belt, which just ends. It's protected from the sports field, so all the activity can take place here, but our garden can be along the boundary. It's close to the main entrance of the school, and best of all, the kids have got a nice place to hang out and learn a little bit about bush tucker. If you're building a garden bed where grass exists, there's no need to remove it. Just mow it close to the ground and then cover with a layer of wet newspaper. The grass will eventually break down and nurture the soil. Well, that's our grass mowed right down to the soil. I'm ready to build a garden. All it's missing is my construction crew. Yeah! Hello! 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 This is the best construction crew I've ever had. Now, do you know what we're going to do today?
What?
We're going to build a bush tucker garden.
Yeah!
Let's go. We've got a great range of plants to put into our bush tucker garden. And the thing to remember is a bush tucker garden needs diversity. So I've got some tea trees, I've got some grasses, there's some grevilleas and a eucalypt, all to create nice habitat for the birds and the insects to come in. Better still, we're going to create a path through here so that the kids will be able to wander through, experience the garden, but pick the fruits and eat them as well. The kids here are really pumped about building the Bush Tucker Grove. And it's no wonder that Joy believes this garden will have benefits way beyond the foliage.
You know, it's a bush tucker garden, so the kids are going to be able to learn something of their heritage and their culture. So, and the kids just, and you can see the way that, you know, that they're all, absolutely all involved, on task and just not needing much direction at all. Loving it, loving it.
Last one for George. Put it down. Look at that, look what you did. Spreading loosened mulch over the wet newspaper helps keep moisture in the soil, and over time, this will break down and feed the plants. One of the hazards of working with mulch is that sometimes it can get in your beard. This is where the fun really begins, because what we're doing now is taking the plants out of the plan and putting them into the soil. And the best part with setting out is play with it a little bit. If you're not happy, shift them around. Once you're happy, away you go, dig them in. While I'm busy setting out the plants, Joy's getting down to the really important stuff with the kids.
Who knows about bush tucker? What do you know?
You could boil it.
Boil it, excellent. Belinda?
You can use it as medicine.
Big voice.
Rub it on your skin. Like lemon myrtle
Yes,
for sores and stuff.
yes. Is this what you know from your family about lemon myrtles?
Yeah.
Excellent.
To get your bush tucker grove off to a great start, pour a bucket of water in the hole, then backfill with some planting mix combined with some site soil. This is a lily-pilly called Syzygium jambos. Now, it's a little bit different to your normal small-leaf lily-pilly because, as you can see, it's got these nice long leaves. And one thing about this variety is that it's a real prolific grower. Whenever you cut it, it bushes up even thicker. It grows to about 10 metres, but you can hedge it down to 2 or 3 metres. Beauty of this as a bush tucker plant is its fruit. It's like a little apple, bigger than the small-leaf lily-pilly. And it's quite refreshing to bite when you're out in the garden, but it's ideal for making jams with. A great bush tucker plant to have in your garden. Each of the kids here will have the responsibility for the care of one plant. That's yours. You think you'll remember it?
Yeah, I really like it.
And this is William's scribbly gum, designed to create dapple shade for some of our edible plants. And it's going to grow up and it has this beautiful white trunk. It has all these scribbly lines on it.
Is it going to grow all the way?
It's going to grow all the way. And the scribbly lines are made by this moth that eats its way up the outside of the bark. And it looks fantastic. I love this tree, and you'll be able to come and watch it grow, all right? Now, lift it over to the hole. Lift it over to the hole. All right. Yep, give it some more water. The last step in the planting process is to lay a walkway of tea tree mulch, a simple yet effective path of discovery through our new landscape. In this relatively small space, I've incorporated 15 bush tucker plants, including a native guava, a midgeonberry and native myrtle. And of course, being native, this garden gets a water-wise tick as well. Setting up a bush tucker garden at home doesn't have to be a major project. The best way to go about it is start small. Grab 1 or 2 things, like a Davidson's plum or a native guava, and mix it up with other natives, like this eucalypt or a tea tree or a grevillea. You'll get a nice, diverse, native garden, and at the same time, it'll slowly start to produce great fruit for you too. For the kids, this garden is far more than just a collection of plants. It's a place they can own, engage with and learn from.
For us Indigenous people, smoking ceremonies are really important. The smoke cleanses the area for us so that our trees will be able to take root and grow, and we'll have the deadliest bush tucker garden in all of Sydney.
As we've explored, the Royal Botanic Gardens has a rich history stretching thousands of years. Fast forward to today, and the gardens are a beautiful collection of plants from around the planet. Walking around the Botanic Gardens, I can't help but feel like I'm walking around a map of the globe. I mean, look at this palm, the texture of the leaves. It's from Mexico, it's got these spikes. All of a sudden you come down here and next to it is the beautiful soft texture of a fern. And towering above all of this is one of the oldest plants known. Thought to be extinct for millions of years, the Wollemi pine was discovered right here, only 150 kilometres from the city of Sydney. Manager of the gardens, Fran Jackson, has what I believe is the best job in the world.
We've got succulent gardens, we've got herb gardens, we've got amazing collections of Australian trees. We've got really new gardens too, like the rose garden that we're standing in now.
Stunning. A key focus of the Botanic Gardens is to develop sustainable methods of horticulture. From best practice composting to watering techniques, they've even worked out a way to grow this rose garden sustainably, avoiding the use of an amazing 10,400 litres of chemicals per year.
There's lots of little ladybugs running around chomping like Pac-Man, the aphids. There's all sorts of interesting warfare going on if you care to look here, but it works.
There's no doubt that a trip to the Bot Gardens can be a great fact-finding mission for your own garden. But as we're about to discover together, there's much more to this place than just beautiful landscapes.
like the herbarium, Australia's largest collection of native plants.
Well, every specimen in here, every of the 1.2 million is important. It represents a particular plant from a particular place, particular time. And they go right back to 1770. One I've got here, this is a Banksia collected by Joseph Banks, 1770 in Botany Bay.
Wow.
This is the actual specimen he collected.
Tim coordinates a team of scientists and horticulturalists that are researching plant diseases, evolution, DNA and sustainable practices. But the work that is particularly close to his heart is that of the Community Greening Project, a joint venture with Housing New South Wales that provides education and support for community gardens like this one.
This is the Gathering Place, a beautiful ornamental community garden that's being launched today at Busby in Sydney's southwest. I love it because it's a combination of all layers of the community: children, students, adults, and most importantly, seniors coming together to create a place to use.
Steady.
Since its inception in 2000, Community Greening has helped transform over 130 community spaces like this one. In many cases, helping new arrivals to meet and engage with their communities.
Great, because I started here 4 years ago, coming to this community centre, doing mosaic. And when the idea for the community garden comes out, was for everyone excitement.
Stephen Paul from the Botanic Gardens Trust has been instrumental in developing and implementing the Community Greening Project.
We now have communities who have gone from being completely unskilled, no experience in gardening, to being so skilled that they're winning gardening competitions. And that's what this program is all about.
This garden is testament to the skills that have been developed by the local gardeners here, and it looks fantastic. But there's one little spot that I reckon could do with a bit of extra colour.
What garden bed, planter box or pot couldn't benefit from the happy, smiley colour of the good old marigold? Grab a little punnet of these, make sure you wet them, tip it on its side, take out each plant one by one, space them about 15 centimetres apart, like so. Dig them in, and all of a sudden, you've got a lovely annual that brings this happy, smiley colour to your beautiful ornamental garden bed. And better still, once the flowers are finished, you can take off the dead flowers, store them in a jar, and then next season, you've got your marigolds for free.
Stephen believes that Community Greening is a program that can provide the framework for not only gardens, but communities to grow.
We want to create projects where the community comes in and utilises it and actually gathers in it. So we're using the world of plants as a tool to bring people together and create a community.
If you'd like more information on any of the programs or courses run by the Botanic Gardens, don't forget to visit the website. Coming up, our backyard revolution continues on its path to sustainability.
Finally, the design is starting to come out of the ground.
By now, you should be familiar with the smiling faces of the Tembaleschi family, for whom I'm building the ultimate sustainable and abundant backyard. So far, we've installed water tanks and an irrigation system, as well as planting out our revolutionary garden beds that are already bearing fruit.
We use celery, we use some silver beet and some lettuce for salata. It was excellent, nice and fresh.
This week, it's the structure of the garden that's really going to take shape.
Well, it's paving day today at the Tembaleschi household, and all of my paving materials are here. I've got my road base, I've got my screed, and I'm really pleased with the pavers. They're a nice 400 by 400, and it'll make that outdoor entertainment space under the pergola look great. All I need now is a bit of help to get all this stuff round the back. Kane, where are you?
I consider paving the arteries of any garden design. They are the paths that lead people around the things that you want them to discover. And that is exactly what I'm hoping to do here. Today, my mission is to create a large entertaining space followed by a brick path that travels through the garden, that doubles as a racetrack for the kids. A design that's both functional and fun. First up, it's critical to get your levels right before you start laying any pavers, as we want any water to drain away from the house.
That gives us about 75mm fall from there to here.
Yep.
This job takes time, and the detail is better done by hand. But Kane is keen to help by bringing out an antique to loosen the soil we'll have to remove.
We'll get it.
Oh, sorry. Hey! We got it! Unbelievable! Sounds like it needs oil.
Road base is the foundation of any paving job and is made from recycled crushed concrete. All you need to do is get it roughly level, gently water in, and then hit it with a plate compactor to lock it in place.
After compacting our road base, I've put a layer of crusher dust over the top, or screed. You can also use washed river sand if you like. I prefer to use this because it's a leftover material from a quarrying process. Then I've put in my 2 rails, which are like big levelers, and I can work out exactly from that side of the pavement to here how much I want it to fall. So our paving will all drain from the high side to the low side. I've gone with this nice limestone pavement to complement the yellow of the house. Thing with this is, being a nice, bright and clean colour, it's imperative that you seal this sort of pavement. And in our case, double the reason, because there's all these beautiful grapes, which taste a treat. But when they fall down on the concrete and squash like that, they'll stain these in 2 days. So if that does happen, with sealed pavers, all you'll have to do is wash it off and maybe just give it a little bit of a brush down.
Once you get into a rhythm, these pavers go down relatively quickly, which is a good thing, because I still have the brick paths to go.
Hey, Kane, that's it, mate.
That's it?
Beautiful.
Lovely.
I've chosen the rustic brick look for the paths as a contrast to the clean lines of the large form patio-style pavers. The foundation process of road base and crusher dust may be the same, but when it comes to laying the bricks, well, you need to be a little more careful.
Here you can see suddenly these 3 bricks randomly are much narrower than the ones before. So you're going to have a little bit of a gap. But once you put the bigger one there, that gap closes up. And the art is not to squash them up, because when you step back and have a look, all of a sudden the whole thing will go wonky. That's why I've got these 2 string lines here, and by hook or by crook, I keep my paving to the string lines, and if the gaps open up and close, we fill them in with sand later. Just as an update, you can start to see that our paving job is nearly complete. The patio here is done, and we're working on this link pathway, which is made out of common bricks. Purpose being that this is going to give the circulation for the kids to ride their bikes and go round and round. After so much demolition, excavation, removal, bashing, smashing, finally the design is starting to come out of the ground. And guys, there we have it. The patio's complete, and now the path's complete. What do you think?
Excellent. Good job, Costa. You've done very well.
Hooray!
Next week on Costa's Garden Odyssey, a sensory garden to make you smile.
The job I've got is the best job in the world.
A community united by the power of plants.
And when you arrive, you can't help but feel that this place is buzzing.
And how to reduce your environmental footprint at the Backyard Revolution.
Oh, guys, you're here. It's time for our compost masterclass.